Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about how to jack up your car and sort of about how you're going to change your tire. That's very important information that I find a lot of people don't actually know how to do. So let's begin. Firstly, we got to get the jack out of the car. In most cars, it's going to be in the trunk somewhere. Mine is over here. I have a 2017 Honda Civic. It's just behind this little panel. And then my spare tire is actually in the floor. So if I pull up this panel, there's a tire. So if we take out all these goodies, mine has a little clip and a little bag and the actual jack. Okay. So we have the jack over here. It's a scissor jack. It's relatively light. It's easy to pack in there, and for the most part, it's pretty cheap compared to, hydraulic jacks and that sort of thing. Plus, it'll get you what you need in a pinch. In the tool bag, there should be tire iron and likely a little piece that will allow you to spin your jack. And I will show you how that works in a second. So we got the tire iron that'll help you get your bolts off, and we got this little hook guy that's actually gonna go right in here, and it'll allow us to turn. So, next thing we want to do is get this in the right spot. Alright, so we're down by the wheel. We're going to take this one off. I got to change the brakes anyway. So we're going to take our jack. What you want to note is that there's a larger side and a skinnier side. You want to put the skinnier side up on the frame. You want to have more stability on the ground. So, on new cars like this, it has a unibody. That basically means that there is no frame per se. The whole car is just one solid piece. Older cars, older trucks used to have a body-on frame, so you'd see like the frame rails running front to back, and then they'd put the body in the cab on that. So, important thing to note on unibody cars, there are specific jacking points that are reinforced, so you don't damage the frame. The body. They will be in your owner's manual, but sometimes they'll mention a sticker right here and give you a general whereabouts. Mine happens to be just down here, so I'll go ahead and get started. So we got the wide side down, and we can turn this actually by hand. And what you're doing is cranking a screw in here, and that screw pulls in this side. And when you pull in this side, the whole thing goes up. So we're just gonna get it started a little bit. Slide it under there. That's getting pretty tight. So another thing you want to note is if you're doing this in a non-emergency situation, you want to have a wheel chock behind your wheels. So I'll show you that. So this is the wheel chock we're going to use. It's just a solid hunk of rubber. I found it at Harbor Freight for I think $5 or $6 or something. But basically how we're going to do with this is take it under the opposite tire that we're not taking off. We're just going to wedge it up under there, and that is to prevent the car from rolling when we lift it up. Now, typically when you're changing a tire, you're going to have the car in park, and the park gear will stop it from rolling for the most part, but as an extra safety measure, you want to put in the wheel chock. You don't have to use that big chunk of rubber. In the past, I've used blocks of wood or even like a tree stump or just a branch if that's all you can find. Sometimes you're in an emergency. But if you're doing this in a safe environment, which I hope you are, give yourself all the safety you can and put something under there that'll stop the wheel from rolling. Alright, the next thing we want to do after we put the wheel chuck in is actually loosen the nuts on the tire. The reason we're going to do that before we jack anything is because if you lift the car before you start cranking on those bolts, you're actually just going to spin the wheel and you won't get any of the bolts off. So we're going to just crack them, is what you call it, and I'll show you that here so you know what I'm talking about. So we'll take our tire iron that came with our kit and put it in, and we'll just kind of lean on it, see if we can get it. There we go. So, I don't know if you could tell or not, but the car did roll forward a little bit, and there's that example of a little bit of play in the gear system, and that's why we want a chock. so that when we are working on the car and we have it up on the jack, it's not going to be moving on us. So I'm going to get these other nuts off and we'll continue. Alright guys, I broke all of the nuts, so they're loose, but I didn't take them off very far, maybe a turn or so. I want the wheel to stay on while I'm jacking up the car, which is what we'll do now. So, as you saw before, there was a little piece here on the end of the jack that has 2 holes in it. So all we're going to do is take our hook, and we're going to put the hook through, and hopefully you still have it where it's touching up on your jack point. So we'll put the hook through, and then on this end, it's a flat square, and actually the tire iron that came with the kit has a little hole in it, so we're going to put that right in like that, and that'll give us a little handle to crank. So what I find is easiest is to take one hand, and put it on the head of this tire iron, and hold the other here so I can just have an axis. And then all we're going to do is spin it, and we're going to keep going, and give you a little bit of view of the tire here in our progress. Crank it, crank it. And this is one of the reasons you want to have another reason you want to have it chopped down is because once this tire comes up, you only got 3 tires on the ground, and you don't want anything slipping. Okay, looks like we're off the ground there. So, alright, so once the tire is up in the air, car's up in the air, we want to take our tire iron or whatever else we have, and we're gonna spin off these nuts. You can probably reach in there with your fingers now and take them off by hand, and we're gonna set those aside. So we're gonna have to use them again when we put the tire back on. Now, it's always a good idea to have a set of gloves in your road kit. My car did not come with gloves. I don't know that a lot of cars come with gloves. I would assume not, but it'll protect your hands, and this is just kind of a messy job because you're touching your tire and it's all rubbery and dirty from the road. So, best to protect your hands, get some gloves. Alright, one more here and we'll pop the tire off. We're going to want to put these out of the way somewhere. If you're on the road, put them in your pocket or something. Keep them safe because you will need them when you put the spare tire on. Alright, all of them are off. So, all we gotta do is pick it up a little bit and pull it off. Now these tires are relatively light because I have a Civic and it's rather small. If you have a truck or an SUV or some sort of thing with bigger tires, heavier tires, they can be pretty heavy. So just be careful with that. Try not to hurt yourself. We'll roll this tire out of the way and we will just start talking about what's in there. Alright, so now we can see inside of our wheel well here. We got the brake rotor, brake caliper over here, and inside there are actually our brake pads if that's what you need to go, if you need to go in there and change them. I'm going to leave the wheel off for now because I actually do need to change my brakes, and I'll put a link to that up here somewhere. But for now, the last thing we need to talk about is putting the tire back on. We did note that we can find the spare usually under some panels in the back of our car. Sometimes cars have them underneath, but when you get it out, you're going to want to do this. So let's say you get your tire out and you put it back on, and these are all your bolts are sticking through, and you go to put your nuts back on, right? So you can start them all as you will, just to hold the tire on. But your user manual, your car guide, whatever you want to call it, will probably tell you that you have to tighten them down in a specific order, and that's usually a star pattern. If you've ever made a star with your pen or pencil, just kind of like that. And that's because you don't want to start torquing down these ones, and then you're going to bend your tire in, and then these ones will get all wobbly, and your tire will get all wobbly like this. So you want to, start with one, and then go across either direction, whichever way you want to go. Tighten this one some more, then go across again to the one that you didn't just do. Tighten that one, go across to the one you didn't just do, tighten that one, tighten that one. And then just repeat the sequence until you're done. And that'll be all nice and torqued up and ready to go. So that's all there is to it, to changing your tire. Hopefully you're not stuck on the side of the road watching this, but if you are, I hope it helped. If you did not click on the link to see how to change your brakes, go ahead and click on that now, either one of those sides there. And if you got any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. Likes definitely help. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks.